You don't need to hold it close to us, that's when it's loud.
Well, it's normally here. It's just loud because you shout. It's because the mic's fault. It's not my voice.
The phone's so far away, they need to hear me. I'm not used to
Okay, ready?
it. Yes.
Hi guys, and welcome to week 11.
We've really been having a lot of fun documenting and creating these videos for you, and after receiving quite a lot of feedback this week, it just really makes us happy to know that it's reaching you and resonating with you, and gives us a lot of excitement to keep sharing, because
it's not easy. There's a lot of behind the scenes everything.
And
for
I
us
think
newbies.
it means a lot to be able to share parts of this journey and for it to be so well received. So thank you and keep enjoying.
Yeah, let's see what we did this week.
So this is a really good sign. All our durian flowers have started opening and are falling. So with all the rain the last few days, or the past week actually, we've had some really heavy rain. And although the flowers have opened and are falling, we're really hoping that the bats managed to pollinate them before the flowers fell. Such a beautiful flower. I don't know if you can see, but it's literally shimmering with gold. We just can't believe that our favorite food is going to be growing on these trees very soon, and that a huge, big, spiky shelled durian grows from this delicate, beautiful little flower. I think we're going to have to see it to believe it.
I've got a footage of them doing the stone base first. Do people care? No, not many people care. Having a fairly small building team on site means often needing to split our resources, and if we're unable to do that, then pretty much one thing stops and the other thing continues. So after doing a little bit extra on the wall this week, the boundary wall, we pulled the guys off to start with the water tower. Despite a lot of rain, this week, unexpectedly, to get out the ground, which was quite impressive with all the water, and we're now at floor height, so now it's just above ground working, so hopefully that should go nice and quick. With this section of the land, which is pretty sloped, and also our very high soil content in the, our very high clay content in the soil, generally when walking down here and there's been a little bit of rain, we tend to slip. So this week our priority was to get in a few paths so that we can make our way from the top to the bottom and from left to right quite easily. So what we did is we started setting it out, trying to go along with the contours in order to not have too many steep paths. So we did that, and we started carving slowly but surely the land out. I ordered some extra stone for this area, and yeah, we managed to get it done pretty quickly. We planted our peanut grass all along the side, so hopefully that's also going to get growing nicely. And then in and amongst the stepping stones, we're going to have some nice green and stone to blend with the nature. As I might have mentioned in one of the previous videos, we decided to make our stream a lot shorter. So at the moment it runs for about 50 meters to our second pond, and then from there it's going to run maybe 13 meters to our main swimming pond. After our stream was laid out, the next step is getting the plastic laid in before we put the stone in, and that was a job on its own. This plastic is extremely heavy, so myself and our helper, we managed to roll it out as far as we could, got it cut, rolled it out again, and then managed to get our length that we needed, and then we lay that down. Brought this from the bottom because of our design change. So we've got the lower pond plastic, because we can't do it all in one strip, we're going to do it in sections. All the plastic that starts higher up is going to overlap by 1.5 to 2 meters. It's rather overlap than a gap. And once we're doing this, then we're going to slowly but surely start putting the stones down, but just in increments, so that we can make sure the plastic's going to cover everything. And once we've done that all the way to the second little pond, then we'll start laying the rest of the stones out. We already had some stone brought down for the stream, so we started putting that onto the plastic. And sure, it's been quite a challenge, I must say, working with the heavy stones every day. I actually wore my fingertips out quite drastically, but after learning that hard lesson, I got some very good gloves, and yeah, it just makes the working so much easier. We managed to get some extreme progress this week. I was extremely chuffed. maybe 15 meters in, and it's really looking good. There's some tweaks that I would like to do just to get it looking a little bit more natural before we pretty much secure them properly. But all in all, we're really happy with the progress, so can't wait to see how the whole thing starts to work together and turn out.
Our very own waterfall. And we had lots of rain, and it ended up having a nice little pond here. We were going to stop at a fountain, and then we're like, oh, here's some fresh water. It looks a little bit muddy, but it's as good as it comes, I think, straight from the sky. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it into tea.
Another element that we're needing to do with the stream is to make sure that the water is flowing where it needs to flow when it reaches a certain point, in order to get the sound and the look that we're looking for. After doing quite a bit of sourcing on the internet in Bahasa, Indonesian, we managed to find and source some foam.
Started using my waterfall foam that I bought in anticipation. I didn't know when I was going to give it a try, but today was more just to test it to see how much of the tube I can use, as well as in which instances shall I use it. Like over here you can see this section here looks like just three rocks around each other, and we're wanting to not have that rock on rock feel, but more as a continuous natural feel. So then what we've done over here is we've spread in these gaps over here, and then we took some reused little extra stones. So these, they actually sieve through from the building sand. So this is left over, and it's a byproduct that they'll just pretty much throw away. So I've got myself a good couple of buckets of these, and I'm using these to sort of fill in on the foam. So we spray the foam, let it dry for maybe 30 seconds to harden just a little bit, and we take these stones and we just throw it on, and then it ends up closing all this, looking really nice and natural. And then in and amongst this we'll also plant some moss, and things will grow, so it'll look like a wall instead of numerous stones. So pretty amped for that. I'm going to give that a break and then continue with the bulk work, and then come back and do the trinkets at the end.
With this foam, what we're trying to do is seal certain gaps in the stone, so when the water runs through, it's not losing its flow through all the rocks. So in the beginning over here, for instance, this stone is already sealed, so the water's not going to be running underneath, and then we'll seal along these joints here, so the maximum amount of water is going to flow over here to get the flow that we need. In and amongst all the work that we're trying to do on the land, there's also a lot of thinking work that needs to happen, because we're in the process of designing the house, and it's really been quite a challenge because it's the first time I'm designing a house for myself. So a lot of emotion comes into play, and we've also got a certain type of flow on the land with regards to the slope and the existing trees.
Ideas. Step 1, step 2, bring the roof in.
There's been a lot of tinkering on design and back and forth with Amy and myself on exactly what elements we're wanting to include with the house, but I think slowly but surely we're managing to get it right.
I'm just bringing my little pawpaw seedlings out to get some morning sun. All these plastic planter bags came with our plants that got delivered, and I wanted to be able to reuse them. Chris and I made a policy that whenever we taste a really good fruit and we say this is the best pawpaw or best soursop or whatever it is that we've ever tasted, we need to save and germinate the seed. I have about 17 little papaya seedlings that are growing from a papaya that we really enjoyed, and I've never done this before, but they seem to be doing well. Our order of fruit trees and some other shrubs and support species arrived this week. There were about 80 plants in total. We took quite a bit of time to decide where we wanted to place each tree based on what the tree needed and also what we want to have closer to the house. And so Chris got preparing some of the planter beds. He opened up some spaces for us to plant some of the bigger trees. Opened up the space. It's got an invasive weed that's growing here along with some other ferns. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Oh, I thought that was a tag.
I thought it was money.
Back full. Oh, the soil is so nice and fertile. You can just feel these trees are gonna thrive. There's an earthworm. Hello, little guy. Such a good sign. By the sound of the thunder, it seems like we're gonna get some rain. which is just perfect because we just planted the trees so they'll get some nice water. I'm just going to do a little bit of compost, cover it with straw, but the compost doesn't wash away, and also just to keep the soil nice and moist. Deliciously moist compost, so good. Ta-da! Happy growing, my dear Abby. I'll cook up. We know we've got a long time to wait until they bear fruit, but it just feels so good to finally have our fruit trees in the ground. With all the fruit trees that we receive being quite young, it can be quite difficult to identify them with their leaves. They can look quite similar, and so this was quite a challenge for us. A few of the trees weren't labeled, which we were a bit surprised about, but for instance this tree, we were told at first it was a canistel, an egg fruit tree. We later found out that it's actually a mango tree, so we had to just switch the trees around. It was a few days that they were planted. We had to uproot them because this was an ideal spot for a mango tree with an open canopy and a lot of sun. Luckily these two weren't far apart, so we could just switch them around. We ended up putting the canistel just a little bit higher up over there. So most of the trees that we ordered are fruit producing trees. This was one of the trees that isn't a fruit producing tree. We had never actually heard of it, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's called a rainbow eucalyptus tree. We can't believe that this little guy is going to grow into such a big tall tree. I'll show you a picture of what it's going to look like one day. Here you can see some of the colors in the leaves. On the very young trunk you can sort of start to see the colors developing. Apparently it's a very fast growing tree. It grows 5 feet on average a year depending on the conditions. So I guess we'll keep you updated on its progress. I've just taken some shelter here in a little shed. The thunder that we heard was a precise indicator that the heavens were about to open, and so they did. Put a little bit of a dampener on our planting. Yeah, I think we're going to call it a day, mister. Here's Chris, he's just embracing the rain in his costume. At least our plants and our peanut grass are getting some water. And yeah, feels good. So cleansing. So what does an early finish today mean?
It starts with the D and ends with the Durian.